Hello, everyone, and welcome to United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey uh, program. Unfortunately, because it's very rainy in New Jersey currently, we did have to cancel our on-site programs, but we are still live streaming. Um, that's one of the hazards of actually being a weather-dependent organization that occasionally the weather does get the best of us. Um, I want to thank everyone for joining in. Uh, If you have any questions, we will be doing a question and answer session at the end. You can always check us out at uacnj.org. That's where you'll find all the information about our club and organization and all our member clubs as well. We are located in Jenny Jump State Park in Hope, New Jersey. And you can also check us out on our socials: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Discord. And as a nonprofit, we do offer these programs completely free of charge for everyone just to get information out there. Um, but we do greatly appreciate all the help we've gotten from viewers like you guys. You can see all the links, like I said, on our website. Uh, we also have a Patreon, and you can also support us through Amazon Smile. Tonight's presentation is What's Up in the May Sky, once again with Lonny Buinis. He is back after his brief hiatus for reasons. Lonnie has been giving talks at UACNJ since it opened. He is the only member of the International Association of Astronomical Artists to specialize in virtual reality planets, some of which appear in his ebook, which he will shamelessly promote later. Tonight, we'll know why this is one of the best times to see what our own Milky Way galaxy looks like from the outside, star hop to two bright stars of different colors, and get ready for the total eclipse of the moon. Although Lonnie holds degrees from Stevens Institute of Technology in physics and computer science, he puts his pant legs on two at a time, just like everyone else. So please feel free to ask questions after we see what's up in the May sky. And here is Lonnie.
Thank you for that introduction, Kim. Really appreciate it. And I owe a lot to the volunteer amateur astronomers at the UACNJ, United Astronomy Clubs, for doing this series. So I do hope that when you come to visit, you'll support us by checking out our gift shop or the donation bottle. So much for advertising. Let's find out what there is to see up in the May sky. And I've got a picture of a special galaxy here on my cover slide, and we'll be talking about that later. I'd like to get information about what's coming up to view in the future at a couple of websites. And one of them that you might want to check is go-astronomy.com. Go, a dash, and the word astronomy.com. You can check out events coming up on their astronomical calendar. So I'm going to be reviewing these a few times so we remember. I don't like to throw a lot of information at you all at once, because if you're like me, I don't remember anything unless I see it a few times. All right, 100 times. There is a meteor shower coming up right now, in fact, in progress right now. It's one considered a less important, not one of the major meteor showers, but the Eta Aquarids. Meteor showers are named for where they seem to come out of the sky, from a point to spread out all over the sky. And it's an optical illusion because they're coming at you in a parallel stream, but as the Earth passes through that stream of debris, we see everything spread out. Just like the markers on a highway, the dividing lines seem to spread out from the distance. We'll talk about those in a minute. You're going to want to notice that in the middle of the month, we have the flower moon, the full moon, but also the moon happens to pass into the shadow of the Earth this month. And that's a total eclipse of the moon, otherwise known as total lunar eclipse. It comes from the Latin word for the moon, luna. And luna, you know that as a a root word from things like lunatic, influenced by the moon, acting crazy, something I do all the time. And the best time to see really faint objects in the sky is when there's no moon. We call that the new moon, when the moon is in the sky, close to the sun, in the sky. Right now, does that mean that it's close to the sun for real? No. The sun is 400 times further away, 400 times bigger. So they look about the same size. But when the new moon is in the sky close to the sun, great time to see faint objects. That's the end of the month. And at the end of the month, we also might have the first test flight of the SpaceX Starship. That's a non-government private enterprise spaceship owned by Elon Musk's company, SpaceX. This has been delayed several months, so we don't know if it's going to happen this month. Something to watch for. Let's start with the Eta Aquarid meteor shower. Meteor showers are named for the constellation, the star picture, that they seem to originate from, to spread out all over the sky. So I want to thank James DiPietro for providing me with actual panoramas of Jenny Jump, the set of observatories at Jenny Jump, United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey. So thank you very much, James. We are going to see what this looks like when I run a free computer program later to simulate what we would see if it's not raining. That'll be a good alternate name for my talk tonight. What's up in the May sky if it weren't terribly cloudy and we couldn't see a darn thing? How frustrating. But you see, that title was too long. So I just went with what's up in the May sky. So the Eta Aquarids come from Aquarius, the water carrier, a constellation that is part of the signs of the zodiac. Like Capricornus, my sign, which I'm embarrassed to admit is the old goat, the sea goat, half fish, half goat. If you look up in the sky and see stars that look like a half fish, half goat, more power to you. Now, this is the way the sky looks at close to 5:30 in the morning, simulated in Stellarium, as seen from United Astronomy Clubs. And so you'd have to wait to see the radiant point of the meteor shower, where it comes out from, till pretty early in the morning. You don't have to do that. You can watch for meteors streaming all over the sky when it's dark. I use several free computer programs. Celestia.space is where you can download Celestia. You can also run it on your mobile devices. You can also run their website if you don't want to download anything. And it simulates the sky as seen from space, not from the Earth. And it looks something like this, where I've jumped forward to May 16, which, as you recall, because you were all taking notes so diligently, I saw you out there writing it all down, that there's going to be an eclipse when? Right there, May 16. Well, all right, it says May 15, close enough. But if I speed up time a little bit, not too much, we can watch an eclipse happening as the moon enters the shadow of the Earth. The Earth casts a shadow 3 times bigger than the moon. How long have we known about this? Well, the ancient Greeks knew this. They saw the curved shadow of the Earth going on the moon. They figured that the moon is a sphere and so is the Earth. The Earth is round and not flat. And they knew this way before Columbus sailed to discover whether or not the world was flat and if he would fall off the edge of the ocean, going to try to find a trade route to the Indies. Instead, he found America. Continuing, let's slow that down a little bit. Oh, time forward. And out it goes. Does the eclipse happen this fast? Anyone? Anyone in the audience? No. I'm going to freeze that right there into the next day. It takes hours for an eclipse. As the moon revolves around the Earth, it's rotating also, spinning around once every 29.5 days, as seen from Earth. It's not the real rate, but that's what we see. And it's moving around the Earth every 29.5 days, so it always keeps one face to the Earth. If the moon spun any faster or slower, we would see all the sides. So it's moving very slowly through the stars as we watch it, and through the Earth's shadow, taking a month, about a month, to go around the Earth. I can actually zoom out and see both the Earth and the moon and the orbit. So if I were to look from overhead, what would I see? I would see half of the moon lit up at all times. There is no permanent dark side of the moon. Every side of the moon gets lit up by the sun. We just see one side that always faces Earth. That's Celestia, and it's free. So I urge you to check it out. You can do it on your mobile device too, if you don't want to download or run it on a website. Now, here are the times of the eclipse. Again, I said it takes hours. When the moon starts, when the moon begins to touch the center part, the darkest shadow of the Earth, there's a dark part called the umbra. There's a light part called the penumbra. The penumbra is so faint that you would probably not notice the moon entering it. So I'm going to focus my attention on the deepest part of the eclipse. About 10:30 on May 15, go out there, 10:30, you should see the moon entirely, just beginning to touch the umbra, and it's going to go in fully the middle of the eclipse just after midnight, about 12:11 a.m. So if you can't stay up, well, they'll probably record it online. You can check out the web. The moon leaves the umbra by 2 a.m. So you see the whole thing lasts several hours. It's a very slow but beautiful process. And sometimes as the moon enters the deep part of the shadow, it turns color. It turns red. Now, why would that be? Is it angry? An angry moon. Angry for losing the light? No. It's sometimes called the blood moon, and it's actually light from Earth. Believe it or not, sunlight bends around the Earth's atmosphere just a little bit, comes through and lights up the darkened moon during the eclipse. Isn't that amazing? Something beautiful to see. This may or may not happen. Eclipses are sometimes dark, sometimes lighter, sometimes bright red, sometimes no color at all, just as we saw in the simulation in Celestia a few moments ago. You can go to NASA's eclipse site if you just look up NASA eclipse. Fred Espenak has been doing that for NASA for years. I put the address down on the bottom, but it's awfully long to write down because I can hear you. I can hear you scribbling furiously with pencils and paper. Does anyone even know what pencils? Here, look. This is paper, and here, if you don't believe me, yes, they do exist. This is called a mechanical pencil. They used to make them out of wood. I don't know if anybody knows about these anymore. Pens, anyone? Nobody. All right, so if it's too long to write down, that's okay. You can look it up. I like to leave up the addresses of where I get all my information. So don't miss the what? What kind of eclipse? Total lunar eclipse. Here's another view of it. Maybe we'll see a red moon, maybe we won't. That's the penumbra. The dark circle is the umbra of the Earth's shadow. And if you were to look back from the moon in a telescope, or even without a telescope, the Earth would be 4 times bigger than the way we see the moon from Earth. It would be an impressive sight. We would see that New Jersey's way up there, so we'll be looking through a lot of atmosphere. The moon is low in the sky during the eclipse, but that's okay. Check out Wikipedia and look up the May 2022 lunar eclipse. Don't forget, maximum eclipse right after midnight. So if you want to watch, stay up late, watch from just before midnight to after, should be beautiful. If there are no, what? Paper and pencil, pens, clouds. Well, I don't know about the SpaceX Starship. It's the largest spaceship created by SpaceX. This would be planned to bring people to the moon and beyond, even to Mars. But last that we heard, it's still grounded. It may go in May, it may not, in which case you'll hear me talking about it in What's Up in the... I don't hear anybody. Yeah, because I can't hear you. What's Up in the June Sky? I hope you'll come back for that. We do a What's Up talk first Saturday of each month at UACNJ. So again, to review, right now, the meteor shower, if it clears up anytime soon, the next few days, go out and watch for meteors, streaks, usually sand grain sized particles burning up. Middle of the month, the full moon and the eclipse. The end of the month, a nice dark sky because it's a new moon. And finally, SpaceX, I don't know. Now, I mentioned, Kim mentioned in my intro that this is the best time to see what our galaxy looks like from the outside. Because if you look at the constellation Coma Berenices, the hair, Coma, of Berenice, it's a small constellation, you're looking away from our Milky Way galaxy, which is fairly flat. It's like a dish or disc. So if you're looking along the Milky Way, you're looking through a lot of dust, starlight, gas, gets in the way of seeing distant galaxies far away. But the best point, the best place to look would be perpendicular at a 90-degree angle to that galaxy, to our galaxy, straight up. And that's this time of year in the spring. If you look straight up, you'll be looking at Coma Berenices, around that vicinity, the hunting dogs and other small constellation. And you'll see these fuzzy blobs, which we amateur astronomers like to call by the technical term fuzzy blobs. That's what they look like, not to the human eye, but in a pair of binoculars or a small telescope. There's a famous one right here in Coma Berenices called M64. It has a much more colorful name, and maybe you can figure out why it's called the Black Eye Galaxy. Our own Milky Way does not look exactly like this from outside, but it would be close. A spiral of stars, some dark dust lanes, and bright patches for star formation regions that look like little red patches here and there. The bluish light of young stars. That's a galaxy. Can contain up to trillions of stars. Our own Milky Way has been recognized to have recently 1,000 billion stars. And that's the Black Eye Galaxy. That's just one among hundreds that we can see in binoculars or a small telescope. Very good reference point. Let's see, am I getting ahead of myself? No, I'm not. I'm going to give you some references, and I'll mention these again when we're done. They still make, does anybody know what a magazine is? Beside what you load a weapon with? It's something you read. Does anyone out there still read? Raise your hand. I can't see you, but I'll be encouraged to feel your presence. Yeah, Sky and Telescope and Astronomy have been out there for decades. They have online versions that you can pay for, the full version, but a lot of their content is free. Check them out. If you forget everything else I've told you tonight, the easiest thing to remember is this web address, space.com. They've got everything. News, the search for life, science, everything that's happening. Very easy to remember, space.com. Write that down. Pencil, paper, pen, text, email. Does anyone still use email? Probably not. We're going to use a free program called Stellarium. Go to stellarium.org or run their supercomputers at stellarium-web.org. You can download the program yourself, as I have, as I'm going to show you, stellarium.org, and they even have a mobile version. The only thing I can't figure out is why they've never gotten to right there. They never got to version 1. I've been using Stellarium for years. When are you guys going to get to version 1? I don't know. Let's take a look at Stellarium. Stellarium simulates the sky seen from Earth, anywhere on Earth, any time, past, present, future. We're looking up at the sky at the United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey, and we see some direction indicators, north, northeast, northwest. To make a realistic sky, you can turn this off. There's a lot of controls you can do. How come we don't see stars at 8:22 p.m.? Well, right, it's spring, going into summer in June, right? So the sky is still pretty light that late. However, with the hidden menu on the left, I can change the time from 2022. What's that? Well, that's military time. 20 minus 12 is, just shout it out if you know. I can't hear you anyway, so you can shout, that's fine. It's from the comfort of your own home. 8 o'clock, 8:22. Let's go to 9:22. That's better. How about 9 o'clock? Young people in the audience still awake? Notice how the time proceeds in real time. I'm going to set this back to 9 exactly. I see a satellite zooming by. Right, 9 o'clock, and we're going to head forward in real time. The sky is changing in real time in Stellarium. I like to start in the north because the Big Dipper is there, and that's easy to recognize, right? Do you see it? Now, as it would look on a star chart, the Big Dipper is small, but in the real sky, these things take up a wide angle. We measure things in the sky not with a ruler, not with linear measure, but with angles. So the whole sky is 360 degrees. The angle between the two bright stars, Merak, Beta Ursa Major, and Dubhe, Alpha Ursa Major, are only about 5 degrees apart, 5 out of 360. So it's a small part of the sky. So in other words, as Douglas Adams once said in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, space is really big. It is, it's big. And the sky is wide. Now, once in a while, you're going to see something zooming by that's not a star, not a planet, not an airplane. It moves more quickly than an airplane, well, about the same speed, but at odd angles, and it doesn't have blinking lights. That's one of the Starlink satellites. There are thousands of them. Right, so you might see a satellite going by. Look, there's another one, another Starlink. You can click on an object in Stellarium and it will identify it. I can right click and turn everything off. I can cheat a little bit and draw lines between the star pictures to get a full constellation that's upside down this time of year. The Big Dipper is not a constellation. It's not one of the 88 officially recognized star pictures recognized in 1930 by the International Astronomical Union. The IAU, International Astronomical Union, is responsible for naming stars, not other companies. Someone was very nice enough to give me a star named after me in Capricornus, the sea goat. It's not officially recognized by astronomers, but it was very nice anyway. You know, people might be trying to ask me questions, so I'll just leave my text open. So, what is this constellation? Do you recognize it? It's upside down. It's got sharp claws, a long tail, a big fierce head with giant jaws. Ursa Major, Great Bear. Major for Great, Ursa, Bear. So since there's a big bear, you know that there must be a little bear, right? How do we find it? Follow the pointer stars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times their distance apart. About 25 degrees, you'll come to the North Star Polaris. In the Little Dipper, also Umi, Ursa Minor. Astronomers like to abbreviate everything just to confuse us. You know, it's a game. Umi, 3-letter abbreviation for constellation. Ursa Minor, the small bear. Does it look like a bear? Yeah, sure. You don't believe me, do you? What's this? Camelopardalis, the giraffe. Looks just like a giraffe. All right, take away the picture. Looks just like a giraffe, looks just like a bear. You members of the audience are probably wondering, what is he on? I promise I just ate dinner. I do not take drugs. So we've got to apply something that our ancestors had maybe a little more of because they had very dark skies. They had imaginations. They didn't have Starlink satellites. They didn't have light pollution, street lights, electricity. They had campfires, and that's about it. They had very dark skies and great imaginations. So they looked between the two dippers, the Great and Small Bear. They saw this long Draco. Draco, what's Draco? Dragon. This time of the year, the king and queen, Cepheus and Cassiopeia, are very low in the sky. To me, Cassiopeia looks like a W, partly hidden amongst the trees at UACNJ, which I will call Jenny Jump for short. We're seeing one of the 6 observatory buildings. Actually, there's a 7th over here to the left. The Greenwood, that was the first one built. There's the public building, where someday we hope to allow you in again so we can see you live. And then you can make fun of me while I talk live at Jenny Jump. Comments from the audience are welcome. Questions too. There's no such thing as a stupid question, so I hope that you will put your questions in chat or save them for later. We're going to have plenty of time for questions. So what are we looking at? Excuse me. Sometimes there's a phone emergency, so I'm going to turn off my phone. Pardon. So we're starting in the north with constellations that we can always see, because they just spin around the North Star in a big circle. The stars rise and set, just like the sun and moon. Why? Why does everything rise and set? If I look over in the west, the winter stars are setting. We're no longer going to see Gemini, people who look alike, the twins, or Riga, the chariot rider. The moon is in Cancer, the crab, tonight. Right? In Stellarium, we can zoom in to see what the moon looks like in detail. It's a big, thick crescent moon heading towards first quarter. Why do they call a moon that's half lit up a quarter? That doesn't make sense. Shouldn't they call it a half moon? Well, that's one side of the moon facing us. What about the other side? The far side. Not the dark side. There's the dark side. The far side, we don't see it. The moon always faces one direction to us. Did you know that all of the major moons in the solar system do that to their parent planets? The big moons of Jupiter, the moons of Saturn, they're all locked, facing one way. Eventually, over time, tides, tidal forces from the planet on the moon and the moon on the planet lock the rotation. So we have something called synchronous rotation. The moon is the best example, rotating the same rate that it revolves. So that's a quarter moon because it's a half of a half. It's in Cancer, the crab. Is it near those stars? Is it anywhere near those stars? The moon, let's see, distance from sun, distance from us, 396,000 kilometers, about 250,000 miles. That's a lot of miles. My wife has done more miles than that on her Honda Civic. What a great car. So if I pick one of these stars, I see that it's 181 light years away. This one is 130 light years away. It took light so long to get to us from the star. It started out 298 years ago. So the moon is about 3/4 of a light second away. My complaint about light, I don't know why God did this. Light is slow. It's too slow. It's way slow. It takes years for light to get anywhere. It takes hours to get to Pluto in the solar system. So if we send a space probe out there, as we did, it took hours to get the information. Why, oh, why couldn't light be faster? That is one of the complaints that I give in my new talk, What Bothers Me. So if you have an astronomy club that wants to hear a new talk this year, ask them to check in with me, Lonny Buinis. These are signs of the zodiac that are quickly disappearing, the twins, the crab. But the one that's up, the main sign of spring, has a mane. It's an animal with a mane and a big tail back here. And it's so big in the real sky, you almost have to move your head side to see. Leo, sign of the zodiac. Why are the signs of the zodiac important? Well, we can show sky markings in stellarium. We can show the ecliptic path. The path that the sun seems to follow in the sky as it seems to go around the Earth. We now know the sun doesn't go around the Earth. It's the other way around, same for the moon. The planets, the sun, the moon, most follow this path as they go around the sun. The first to figure this out and popularize it was Copernicus 400 years ago. So those are the signs of the zodiac. The sun, that the path the sun follows. And are we going to see this line in the real sky when we visit Jenny Jump? No. We're going to see lines for constellations? No. Sorry to disappoint you. You can buy a star chart that does that has all these things at UAC&J when you visit. We sell star charts and other useful items to learn the sky the way I did. We have a couple of bright stars this spring. If you face south and tilt your head backwards, crane your neck all the way back. I got a lot of good practice doing that in a planetarium when I used to work in planetariums. I had to look up all day long. So I had very strong neck muscles. And I used to ride my bike to work, where you have to hold your head up to see forward, right? So my neck muscles were pretty good. I used to look up and back in the spring at the Big Dipper, and I followed the Big Dipper's arcing handle, arc to a star called Arcturus. Arc to Arcturus. A star 36 light years away. It's bright orange color in the real sky. In stellarium, the colors are not very strong. So do go out. We encourage you, all of us, all we amateur astronomers at Jenny Jump, encourage you to go out and look at the real sky. And we can help you do that when the sky is clear there. We have laser pointers. We can point them up at the sky. You can sometimes see the beam pointing to things. Arc to Arcturus, and your eyes are looking at a reddish star that's cooler than the sun, which is a yellowish star and would look yellow from far out in outer space. If we arc to Arcturus and continue on, we speed to a bluish star, Spica, in Virgo. Spica is Alpha Virginis, the brightest star in Virgo, sign of the zodiac. That's a cooler star. I'm sorry. Arcturus is cooler than the sun, orange in color. Spica is hotter. It's kind of like looking at a gas flame. The hottest part of the flame is blue. As you go up towards the orange and yellow, that's cooler. You wouldn't know it if you burned your finger, but that's true. So your eyes can tell star temperatures just using your eyes alone. Incredible. So a lot you can do with naked eye astronomy. We amateur astronomers have a technical term for using just your eyes, and that's called the naked eye. Binoculars are another good way to get started. So what I'm doing here is hopping from one constellation to another, from the Big Dipper to Arcturus to Spica. You could also use the Big Dipper's pointers the other way. Instead of going to the North Star, you can point them south to Leo the lion, the main sign of spring. You can continue down further, and often there are trees in the way to see these other constellations, which I can identify by name. I can cheat in stellarium and name constellations. Hydra, sea serpent, Crater, the goblet. And Corvus looks just like I don't know, any guesses? What's Corvus? Looks just like a crow. Yeah, where did they get a crow from 4 stars? Gotta wonder. Well, our ancestors did smoke things by the campfire. Look for some of these constellations if you have a clear horizon, the boundary between sky and ground. Look for some other bright stars low in the western sky. Canis Minor Canis Major is setting, the big dog, so Canis Minor, small dog. The bright star, Procyon, disappearing in the western sky. So if I were you, I would go out when it's clear, not raining, like tonight. Look in the west for Gemini, Cancer. Look over, keep scanning up till Leo, over to Virgo. And now we're back towards the east for the stars of summer to be rising. We're going to be paying more attention to these stars and what's up in the June sky. I did mention earlier Coma Berenices, Canis Venatici, the hunting dogs. Great place to look for galaxies away from our Milky Way, which interferes. When the sky is very dark, you might see the Milky Way. Might have to stay up a little bit later. Let's go forward in time to about 22 minus 12, 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. The moon is interfering. I don't see the Milky Way. Good time to see it is summer, when it goes right over at Jenny Jump, right from south all the way over to the other side of the sky. It's really incredible. UICNJ has one of the darkest observing sites in New Jersey. And so this time of year, if you do visit, ask an astronomer to show you some of the galaxies in this area. There are many, including the one that I featured on my cover slide, M64, the black eye. Now, if I leave the sky moving in real time, you notice how it moves. Why is the sky drifting like this? So this is a problem in telescopes that don't have a clock drive. Objects will move out of the field of view within minutes or faster, depending on how much magnification you use. Why is it doing that? We have to keep putting it back. What's really moving? The whole sky? Well, it's the Earth rotating on its axis once every 24 hours. And if you take 24 hours and split it up into 1,440 minutes to the day, then you can figure out over a degree field of view how fast things are going to move out. Low magnification, you won't notice it as much. So we like to show you things in a telescope at low magnification, or if we blow it up, we like to project it on the side of a building. We can do that. Lots of galaxies in this area. And these are collections of stars like our own Milky Way. 100 billion to 1 trillion stars. We now recognize that the Milky Way may have about 1,000 billion stars. That's a million. That's 1 followed by 12 zeros. In other words, as Douglas Adams once said, space is really big. There are a lot of stars and galaxies. And there are so many that are like our sun, that have planets, that it's impossible to believe that there are not possibly 10 billion civilizations at various levels of development in our own Milky Way. Multiply that by trillions of galaxies in the universe. It's a big universe we live in. Coming up later on at night, we're going to see higher in the sky, Corona Borealis, the crown, Hercules, the hero, the summer triangle of bright stars. I'll be talking about all of these in What's Up in the June Sky. But we will do a review of the sky before we end tonight. It's about 8:40 right now, so let's wrap things up by going back and checking out some news. There is a nice comet that visited the Earth's vicinity recently. It's named for a device, a telescope that found it, Pan-STARRS, a probe. The other sexy name, C2021-03. Easy to remember. Came pretty close to the planet Mercury, but the orbit is tipped to the rest of the plane of the solar system, Earth's orbit. Pan-STARRS. It was a big telescope that helped discover this. Got very close to the sun, about 1/3 of an astronomical unit, which is the distance from sun to Earth. Astronomers don't like to use miles because they're too small. It's like 93 million miles from Earth to sun. So they just call that 1. It's like a yardstick, 1. Closest approach to Earth was just about almost 2/3 of an astronomical unit. In other words, millions of miles away, not to worry. But we can watch the comet passing through some constellations, winter constellations, and then Camelopardalis in May. There was a beautiful alignment that I missed of the moon, Mercury, the innermost planet, and the comet very close to the Seven Sisters, the Pleiades, May 2nd. You can watch the comet moving away from this grouping up higher and higher over the next month. And since today is what's today's date? 5, 6, 7, right there. The comet was by the Pleiades. Right now it's in the foot of Perseus the hero, Perseus of legend, who rescued Andromeda the princess from the sea serpent by using the head, the Gorgon, the head of Medusa, marked by this bright star. Right about there, you can watch the comet passing by the bright stars of Perseus over the next few days, if it clears up. And you would need a telescope. It's not that bright, but that's where the comet Pan-STARRS is. So there's all kinds of interesting things to see. A little bit of history. You can go to onthisday.com and check out cool things. William Herschel, with one of the first reflecting telescopes, May 2nd, way back 1780, found the first binary star to be recognized as a binary star. First American in space, Alan Shepard, May 5th, 1961. Soviet Russia launched an unmanned space capsule May 14th, the first, 1960. That was before Alan Shepard. And then first rocket into space, 1946. Reached the edge of space, May 22nd. A couple of monkeys on May 28th, 1959, made it into space. They survived on a Jupiter rocket. They went up 300 miles and back. I wonder how they felt about that. Did they have a window to look out? Did they get seasick? So let's do a quick review before we go. What's up in the May sky? I answered that question by using a free program that you can get called Stellarium. I started in the north to get familiar with the positions of the Big and Little Dippers, which helps us find where the Earth's North Pole points, right near Polaris, the North Pole star. You can look opposite north to find south. The best place to find planets, the moon, the sun. Unfortunately, most of the bright planets are now in the morning sky, so you got to get up at 5 in the morning. But if you forget anything else I told you today, look for Leo, the lion. On a star map, it looks pretty small. In the real sky, it's pretty impressive. All these constellations take up a much bigger angle than you see on my little compressed star chart here. Find the bright stars Arcturus and Spica, some of the brightest stars in the sky. Beautiful color difference. Your eye can see that. You can see star temperatures. See if you can find the little crow. Find Libra, the scales. The signs of summer are coming up. And the 13th sign of the zodiac is here, Ophiuchus the serpent carrier. I'll be talking about him in the next couple of months. Yep, the planets, the sun and moon pass through a 13th sign. Traditional astrologers do not take this into account. Some new ones do. That's what's up in the May sky. You can find some faint objects called galaxies. Good time to do it this time of year before the Milky Way of the summer rises and blots out our view of anything beyond it. Anybody dizzy yet? Whee! When you buy a star chart, you'll see it like this. It's a big round circle. There's a rivet right where the North Star is. Everything spins around the rivet, right? Anyone dizzy yet? Okay, I don't feel so good. I'm going to stop that. All right, let's conclude. Yeah, we just looked at the sky the way it looked. Events. Meteor shower now, full moon, don't miss the eclipse. If you forget everything else, Leo and the lunar eclipse, the middle of the month. Don't miss it. Even the regular media talks about eclipses. And a really good time to see the galaxy is the end of the month, when maybe we'll see the Starship launched, one of the biggest spaceships, private enterprise ever launched. Got some references for you. Our website, United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey, I pronounce it Yowaknij. Repeat after me, yowaknij.org. Lots of events there. It's linked to all organizations to deal with astronomy in the state of New Jersey, and we have some sister organizations in other states. You can still read magazines for those of us who still read instead of scan. I know, like you, I tend to scan. I read at the top of the page and then I read faster, 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 faster. No patience whatsoever. Stellarium and Celestia are free. They are mobile. They are downloadable. They are visible on websites. Check them out. I found dozens of sky programs that you can just hold your phone up to the sky, just hold it up, and your GPS, built-in GPS, will just see exactly what you're looking at in that part of the sky and identify it for you. It's really cool. Technology has come a long way since the day of just looking through a telescope. My own shameless promotion, I have a book that uses my virtual reality planets. You can buy the book. You can try my planets for free at astronomyinmotion.com. My latest, Mars at Your Fingertips, lets you play with the planet Mars in 3D. It's really cool. It's only $8.50, but there is a free demo right there on the site, Mars at Your Fingertips, which is fun to play with, gives you the full power of the full version. And you'll hear all the landing sites narrated by my wife with videos describing all the landing sites and all the crash sites too. All 18, including the one that hasn't happened yet, next year, the Rosalind Franklin. It's going to land next year. It's an American space probe. Check it out, marsatyourfingertips.com, astronomyinmotion.com. And that's the end of my shameless self-promotion. If you'd like to communicate with me, you can find my contact information at astronomyinmotion.com or email Lonny Buinis at gmail.com. And I want to thank you for visiting. This is what we show you when you come to visit. And we ask you to be careful leaving and to use your headlights. But tonight we're all virtual. So we're going to pause here. And Kim is going to ask you for questions, the answers to which I'll just make up if I don't know. Thank you very much. You've been a great audience. I love being here.
All right. Thank you, Lonny, for a wonderful program. Oh, gosh, I can hear myself through something else.
I can hear you fine.
I know what I'm hearing myself through. Okay, so we're going to start by doing a question and answer session. The first question I got was, will UAC&J be open for the lunar eclipse?
Ah. Well, now that's the 16th. And the 16th is, well, it's a Monday.
Yes, and I actually have the answer. So while unfortunately we did not have the volunteers to open for the lunar eclipse on the 16th, I do know that one of our members is actually going to the Liberty Science Center to be able to help them with a program on the lunar eclipse on that day. So we do occasionally do outreach, and as requested by various groups in our area. Liberty Science Center is out by, I want to say, New York City, on the New Jersey side. Unfortunately, I am very bad with directions. I know how to get places. Could not tell you where to go or how to get there yourself, though. All right. So our next question is, Have we heard about the EHT announcement on May 12th? EHT being the Event Horizon Telescope.
Oh, I haven't been paying attention. I'll have to look it up.
I had asked what EHT stood for because, unfortunately, after a while, the acronyms pile up, and you're like, which one's that?
Yeah,
And
we've been looking more, all of us, at the James Webb Telescope.
yep, apparently, um, it it could be the first picture of the Milky Way black hole. SAG-A is probably the designation you would find in Stellarium.
Yeah, that's Sagittarius, which is a summer constellation, although we can look later on at night and let the summer stars rise. So there's the Milky Way, and by 5 a.m. it's too bright. Sagittarius, the Archer, looks like a teapot, and the center of our galaxy is right above the spout in this theme here. Can you see the black hole? No, because it's black. But that's the location. So if they've managed to get an image of it, that would be with a gigantic interferometer, probably radio imagery. Very exciting. I'll check that out. Thanks for asking.
All right. So our next question is, are there any planets visible tonight? And I believe you had actually gone through this at the beginning as well as the end review. There are some up, but they're currently in the morning sky if you are in the northern hemisphere. Which ones are those?
Right. Well, we can look in the morning. Let's see. So 4 a.m., 5 a.m., Venus, Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn all strung together. It's amazing. So if you wait till before the sun rises, while the sky is still fairly dark, you've got to look fairly low, and you will find all these. Let's zoom in on Venus and see what the phase looks like. So in a telescope, you might see that gibbous phase. Any other planets? Anybody want to zoom in on Jupiter? Little hint, hit the space bar in Stellarium, and it focuses on the planet. There's Jupiter. You might see it look like this in some of our telescopes with the 4 bright moons. So that's a good question. I haven't been bold enough to get up at 5 in the morning. I get up generally 6 to walk the dog, and by then it's too late.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've been working a lot of overnights. So while I've been awake, I've been firmly ensconced indoors where I cannot view the night sky. But should I ever walk outside the building, I would actually be able to see those. I believe I actually had a coworker coming in who actually had asked me earlier, "Hey Kim, I saw, and I think they're planets. Which ones are they?" Like, yep, those are planets.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I was at the end of the shift and wasn't quite as aware of which ones were which at that point. All right. So, next question is, I just saw it. Where'd it go? Oh, someone wanted to know, what is the photo over your left shoulder in the screen?
Oh, that's a very good question. That is a signed print by Chesley Bonestell, one of the premier artists, space artists of the 20th century. Alive, I didn't get to meet him. He inspired me when I was a kid to be interested in astronomy and especially space art. And that is a view of Saturn as it would be seen from its satellite Titan, if Titan did not have a dense atmosphere that would block the view. Back when he painted this in 1944, we did not know that Titan's atmosphere was so dense. But space artists now have a much better, a more accurate view of what it looks like. So many of them have shown the red sky of Titan with a barely visible Saturn or not visible at all.
Very nice.
Thank you. Yeah, interesting that you noticed that. That's one of my favorite pieces of space art. I do space art myself. You can see some examples at astronomyinmotion.com.
Yep, and I believe you had actually done a painting that you had donated to the observatory, and that we currently have in our gift shop area, where we currently have a small portion of our museum set up.
Oh, thank you, Kim. That's gratifying to hear. That's a painting of a nebula called S106.
All right. So we're going to put out a last call for any questions people might have. And while I'm giving that a couple minutes, we're just going to go over a couple things that I did at the beginning. So we are United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey, a nonprofit based out of Jenny Jump State Park in Hope, New Jersey. We want to thank everyone who has come to watch, whether it be in person on our site or followed us online. If you want to keep supporting us, and do please hit that like and follow button down below. You can check us out on our website, uacnj.org, where we have all sorts of links as to our member clubs, because we are a club made out of other clubs. We do like to get people in touch with their local astronomy clubs, because while we have a nice dark sky as far as New Jersey goes, we do believe that your local club is going to give you the best options, because they'll know those tips and tricks for your area that we might not know because we are a darker sky. For example, we have several people who come from places such as New York City out to the observatory, and while I can tell them they'll probably be able to see the moon and possibly some planets and the brighter stars, I would not know things such as best places to set up or fine-tuning details that, for example, one of our member clubs, I believe AAI is AAA. Like I said, acronyms get tricky after a while. AAA, that club in New York City, would be able to give them that sort of information on, places to set up and what they would actually be able to see at various places in their area. So next thing, you can check us out on our social media page. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We have a Discord channel that we've just started. So feel free to hop in there, post your astrophotography pictures, ask questions. We'd love to see that. We do live stream all our content on YouTube, and we do keep our presentations on YouTube up, so you can always go back and see any past presentations you have missed. All right. Oh, we got one more question, and that is, what is a gibbous planet?
That's a good question. A gibbous refers to a phase. Anything that's round and lit up, you can take a ball and light it up with a flashlight and simulate the phases of the moon or planets. So if you put the light behind yourself or directly on a ball, that's going to be a full phase. Put it to the side, you can get a quarter. If you put it so that it's between sideways and full on, you get a curved shadow between the dark side, less dark, more bright. That's called gibbous. Not the same as gibbon, which is a kind of ape. Completely different.
All right. And with that, it looks like most of our questions have actually been answered. Like I said, do check us out on our website, uacnj.org. And until then, we hope to see you up on our site or through our live stream. All right. Have a good night, everyone.